And the final area is a combination of cognitive development and executive function. Some areas of growth in this category include sensory integration, making choices, problem solving, and concentration. So then how do we help our children develop these skills, especially those of executive function? We do this by providing experiences that promote and focus on a lot of exploration, independence, and communication. Now, does this mean that you have to remove every toy that has letters and numbers from your child's reach? No, it doesn't. But the idea is that they never become the focus and the priority. They should simply be other vocabulary. For example, my children definitely had toys with letters and numbers on them and shapes and colors when they were in this age range. And the way that I approached it was simply, if my child pointed to one of those symbols, one of those images, and showed interest in it, I would just say, yeah, that's an H. But I'm not trying to force it, and I'm not trying to make them memorize it, because that is where we're crossing the line into what we shouldn't be doing at this age level. Now, another thing to consider about these toys, not only if they have letters and numbers or what the purpose is behind that, the other thing that we want to consider that gets pushed a lot in the toy industry today are battery-powered toys with buttons and lights where the child may just push a button and then the toy starts doing its thing. You really want to try to stay away from those kinds of toys and instead provide your child with toys that they have to manipulate, that they have to maneuver in order to make things happen and learn from them. So then what do you do when a family or friend lovingly gives a gift that has buttons that create sounds and lights? The approach that I took to them was to allow them to be used, but to limit where and when they were used. I also made sure that the toys that I was providing them were good quality. That is, not easily broken and open-ended toys. What I mean by open-ended toys is toys that don't have just one solution to them, with the exception of puzzles. So toys that they can play with and create and invent and use their imaginations with. The toys in my home consisted of nesting objects, blocks, Duplo Legos, wood puzzles, board books, stuffed animals, a toy kitchen with food basket, a Little People house, in December, a Little People manger, recycled boxes for a week here and there, musical toys like xylophone and drum, etc. These were the toys that I rotated out of the different spaces that my kids played in. So then let's consider the environment that you're setting up for your child. Have you ever noticed children, maybe even your own, flittering and fluttering from one toy to the next and only staying engaged with one toy maybe for 1 or 2 minutes and then going and trying something else and then going and trying something else over and over again? This can happen, one, for the reason of maybe battery-powered toys, but also when they have too many options. So really try to limit the options that you have in that area, rotate them out every once in a while with other toys that you may have. And in my case also, we had 2 different areas. We had the second floor bedroom, and then we had the living room and the first floor. So we had some toys there and some toys upstairs, and they were usually in one area or the other. Now when you have more than one child, this can become a little bit more complicated because that older child is taller, has more access, more mobility, and so they may be moving toys around, being able to reach toys that you have up higher and whatnot. So keep that in mind. But the environment goes beyond just the toys in a play area. We want to create opportunities for our children to begin to take small steps toward independence while simultaneously learning skills that are appropriate for this age level. In my home, we provided foldable steps that the kids could use in the kitchen, in the bathrooms, in other places of the house to be able to get themselves a cup of water, to begin to learn to wash their hands, to brush their hair, and things like that. My kids had their clothes in the closet on a low bar where they could reach them independently. And they also had drawers that were safely connected to the wall that were low down that they could get into and choose their clothing, take it out when they wanted to. And yes, at different points in the day, play dress up with their own clothing. But the skills that she was learning and the confidence that she was gaining through that process were way more important than having a perfectly organized clothing drawer every day, all the time. So with that said, honestly, there's a lot to be said for the mess that kids can make. As a side note, it's important to let them make that mess.